Right, well, good morning, everybody. Welcome on this lovely sunny Friday morning. Um, Thank you so much for joining us. This is GovernorHub Knowledge in 30 minutes. My name's Jane. I work for the support team at GovernorHub. I'm going to be giving you an overview of GovernorHub Knowledge this morning and how it complements or can complement GovernorHub. I'm also joined by Elena, who is a content editor for GovernorHub Knowledge, and she is going to be giving some insights into how the articles on GovernorHub Knowledge and the training and the content there is produced. And I'm also joined by Leonie, who is going to be answering any of your questions in the chat. So if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat and Leonie will answer them for you. Right, so GovernorHub Knowledge in 30 minutes. So hopefully I've had a look through and we've got lots of different people joining us this morning. We've got some existing customers who are looking to make the best out of their GovernorHub subscription. We've got some customers who currently have GovernorHub and they're looking to see what GovernorHub Knowledge can do to complement what they already have. And we've also got some people who are entirely new to GovernorHub. So hopefully all of you will find something useful in the next 30 minutes. So the first thing I just want to do is just to point out the difference between GovernorHub and GovernorHub Knowledge. So GovernorHub is a tool of governance. It's where you can store your documents. It's where you can get organised with a shared calendar. You can communicate with other members of your board effectively. And it's also a place where you have a secure body of evidence for when you need it most, when you need to demonstrate to external auditors or to Ofsted. With everything in one place, it's really easy to get your hands on your information quickly. GovernorHub Knowledge is a huge complement to that because GovernorHub Knowledge is it gives you the knowledge to act. So it gives you, it has the training that helps you to stay compliant, and a range of articles about all aspects of governance. And it's there when you need it. At the point you've got a question or you need to know the procedure to something, or new guidance comes out and you just need to get to grips quickly with what that means for you as a governor or a trustee. GovernorHub Knowledge is there at the very point that you need it with the answers that you need. We also, as part of GovernorHub Knowledge, send out a lot of engagement emails to help you get the best out of your membership with GovernorHub Knowledge. If you're a trust, if you're part of a trust, a GovernorHub Knowledge membership also gives you not only access to all of the articles and training on GovernorHub Knowledge, but also access to a back-end admin site and a training booking system. So if you're a multi-academy trust, having a GovernorHub Knowledge subscription really helps you to make the best out of GovernorHub and support your governors. So on that topic, I just wanted to show you this because we fit very nicely into this grid, I feel. Over the past few years, there's been a huge change in the way schools operate. The old style model, which you see on the left-hand side, which is we previously had this top-down bureaucracy, which might include passive governors and trustees, leaders who manage up aging IT systems and operations, the idea of teaching to the test and preparing for Ofsted and paper trails and data drops and rigid, irregular training. You know, now we're moving towards this professional community, and this is part of what we are supporting. We want and we need to have in the education landscape today active and informed governors and trustees. We need to have responsive and empowered leaders. We don't need aging IT systems now. We're in a world where we should have modern collaborative tools and systems and evidence-based practice, continuous accountability and continuous improvement. And actually part of what GovernorHub offers with GovernorHub Knowledge really does help you get there. And it really supports that model that we're all looking towards. Right, so I'm going to just move off my PowerPoint now, and I'm going to go into GovernorHub. I hope you can all see that. Please shout if you can't. So if you already have GovernorHub, you'll be familiar with how you sign in. Sign in like this. Now, previously, about 2 years ago, GovernorHub Knowledge was known, you may have known it as the key for school governors. And at that point, there were two logins. There was a login for GovernorHub and a login for the key for school governors. Nobody needs two logins in their lives. So we very quickly made it so that it's one login. You're volunteers and, I'm sure you have logins for all sorts of things, but for your governance, we want you to just have one login. And so for GovernorHub Knowledge, if you have a subscription, it's not another login. From your GovernorHub page, your GovernorHub login, where your board sits on your washing line and your profile sits, you just will see an additional icon on your washing line, which is this blue K, which you just click through and it takes you through to GovernorHub Knowledge. So you've got your bit where you sort out your paperwork and your communication and your document storage and all of your governance papers, and then you can click straight through to the knowledge part. And you will see straight away you have a menu along the top that has all the different sections that are available on GovernorHub Knowledge. You have a very handy search bar where you can search for keywords for what you're looking for at the point that you need it. You also have some very useful sort of recommendations for you each week. So based on what's happening in the world of education, we select and write a range of articles that are useful to do with what's happening right now. And you'll see, suspensions and exclusions was mentioned in the news, I think, just last week. There was a big headline about it. So we've got an article there, a short summary of the rules around suspensions and exclusions, because having seen that in the news, that might be something that's on your agenda for the summer term governing board meeting, and you can read up on it. And when you go to that meeting, you've got that knowledge to act. We've also got a link to the Hoot, which is our governance blog. You can sign up there for a weekly news briefing, so you can get an email every week with what are the top stories in the news. My colleague Leonie, who's on the chat, is responsible for putting that together and sending that out. And it's great because what she sends you is a list of the headlines and links to articles on GovernorHub Knowledge that support every single headline in the news that is about education. So again, it just does the work for you and finds the information that you need at the point that you need it. It also has a section that tells you what other people are looking at the moment. And also, and I think Elena will speak about this a bit more, about any articles we've updated, because Elena will tell you in a moment, there's a regular cycle of making sure that everything is really up to date. So that's all on your first page. Now, so when you go into this, you might be browsing, but more than likely, you're looking for something specific. So it might be, for example, quite recently, a few weeks ago, the governance handbook was replaced by the governance guides. So it might be that you want to know what those changes mean for you as a governor. So using the handy search bar, you can type in a keyword like governance guides, and straight away you have got here Academy Trust Guidance Summary of Changes. So a massive body of information has been condensed into an article that tells you everything that you need to know about those changes, with some very useful links there. And you can download the article. You can also bookmark the article if you're interested in it. And what's really useful about that is you just click Save for Later, like this. At the top right, you have this little icon here next to the search bar. This brings up a place where any articles that you've saved will be, and also, very usefully, a little breadcrumb trail of all the places that you visited. So if, like me, you end up looking at something online and you think, I need to read that later, I'll get back to it, and then you can't quite remember where it is, by using that little reading list icon, you can actually see where you've been. So you can click straight back in to an article that you've been reading. If you've bookmarked it and you've saved it, it's even easier because it's there. And the other advantage of bookmarking it is anytime this is updated, the article that you've saved, you will receive an email. So, for example, if you're a governor and you're in charge of wellbeing and you've saved the Wellbeing Link Governor article, if that is updated, you will receive an email that tells you, so you can always know that you're going to be the first to stay on top of anything to do with your area of responsibility. If you find something really useful on GovernorHub and you think, oh, I really need to share that with my colleague. So, for example, let's just say you had a colleague who was doing their first governor visit. So you could find an article to support them on Governor Visits, and there it is, Governor Visits How-To Guide. So we've got what to do before the visit. There are templates for filling in for your Governor visit, questions to ask, do's and don'ts, and how you report back to the board. So a very, very useful piece of information for anybody who's about to do their first Governor visit. You might have a colleague who is about to do that. You can click Share with Colleagues. You can pop in their email address. You can send them a little message, to say that you found an article that will support them with their Governor visit, and you can share the article with them. And they'll receive an email with a link to the article, and they can access that. If you find something that you think, gosh, I really want my whole board to know about this, so it might be something that you're about to discuss in an upcoming governor meeting. Exclusions is a great example of that. So you could type in a keyword, exclusions, and there it is. You've got your article about suspensions and exclusions, and you could, instead of share with colleagues, which sends it to one person, you can share on GovernorHub. And if you do that, it has this nice little integration, and you can select your board or boards, and you can edit the text, and you can say, dear governors, I know we're going to be discussing suspensions and exclusions at the upcoming full governing board meeting. Here's an article that I think would be very, very useful for us all to look at. You can click share. It will post it on your notice board, and it will email all your governors the link to that article. So you can easily not only get this knowledge to act, but you can share it as well, and you can make sure that all your governors have it at the point that they need it. Now, the other last bit I want to show you is the training. So there's a really great offer of training that is included within GovernorHub Knowledge. We have a range of both statutory and non-statutory training. All of the training is fully compliant, and at the end of it, it is added automatically to your training record on GovernorHub with your certificate waiting for you. So you don't need to remember to add it to a training record anywhere. It just immediately zooms over and adds to GovernorHub for you with the certificate. We've got staff and parent governor training and pupil premium training. The safeguarding training that you need to do is there, plus safer recruitment. We've got link governor training, prevent duty training. There's a head teacher recruitment course that we partnered with Governors for Schools for, and also regular induction training as well. In addition to that, we've got some learning pathways, which are a walkthrough of articles on GovernorHub Knowledge with a quiz at the end to check your understanding about how to handle complaints and about how boards are financed. Now, what's great about the training courses is that if you are an admin and you want to signpost people to the training, same as I showed you for the articles, you can click into a training course like safeguarding, and you can share on GovernorHub to notify all of your governors that they need to do it. Or if it's something like a parent governor course, I know we've got some parent governors on the call today. This is a really, really useful induction course if you're a parent governor, because it goes through the role of the parent governor and also some sort of case studies and scenarios of situations that you might find yourself in and what you need to do in those situations. So again, you could share on GovernorHub or you can share with colleagues, okay? So a lot of very useful training. And of course, it's all automatically added to your training record on GovernorHub. So any courses that you do there, when you go into your profile on GovernorHub, they're added here with the certificate waiting for you with this icon here. Now, same with GovernorHub itself. GovernorHub Knowledge has this little bubble at the bottom right-hand side. If you ever need any help or you have any questions about anything that you're looking at, you can click the bubble and you can send a message to one of the team who'll be able to get back to you. So hopefully that's given you a bit of a kind of flavour of GovernorHub Knowledge and how it integrates with GovernorHub and how it really complements the GovernorHub to have this body of information. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to move back to my presentation, and I'm going to pass over to Elena, who is one of our content editors, who's going to talk a little bit more about how this information is produced. Thank you, Elena.
Thank you, Jane. Hi, everybody. It's lovely to be here. My name's Elena. I am one of the content editors for GovernorHub Knowledge. And I'm just going to talk you through today how we work and how, hopefully what I will tell you about our processes means that you can not only use our content, but you can trust it. because we have quite a rigorous process that we go through for writing content to make sure that, we're giving the right advice at the right time. So just a little bit about our team. We're all experienced in the sector. So, for example, I worked in schools, either teaching or leadership, for 21 years before I came to GovernorHub Knowledge. We're all serving governors. So, and actually, we've got quite a good range of governance experience. So, for example, I volunteer in an academy, a secondary academy, which is a really, really big school. One of my colleagues is a governor for a very small federation of tiny little primary schools in a rural area. And then one of my other colleagues is a governor for a school that is currently making the transition to be an all-through school, all the way through primary and secondary. So there's a real range of experience on the team, but we are all serving governors. And we've got lots of governance experience. We've all been chairs, vice chairs. And importantly, we're trained quite rigorously in terms of understanding governance, understanding how to research correctly, and make sure that we are giving advice that enables you to be compliant. So, we go through quite a systematic process for making sure that we all are able to do our job and do it, write articles that are credible. We're giving you credible information. Okay. Jane, if you wouldn't mind moving on to the next slide for me, please. So as Jane sort of mentioned briefly, we write an article and obviously we publish it. We don't then just let it sit there and kind of gather dust for potentially years on end. We routinely go through all of our content and regularly review it and make sure that it's still current, make sure that it's still nice and fresh, that it's explaining things in the best way possible. And obviously making sure that the advice within the article is absolutely correct and follows the guidance to a T. And we have like an automated system for that. So we have a process, we have a piece of software that will literally check everything that's on the site. And then every month, or every cycle as we call it, it will give us a list of content that needs to be updated, and we sort of divide it out between us. And we go through and we check the article. Sometimes we might only make very small tweaks because actually the article's still in great shape. It still says everything it needs to do. And other times we might completely rework something and say, actually, this is looking kind of dusty now and it really needs significant work. But we do that regularly, and it's automated, if you see what I mean. So we don't wait for changes in the sector to prompt us to update our content. We're doing it anyway. Obviously, if there is an update, if the DfE release a piece of guidance tomorrow, we will, we get straight on that and we make sure that our content reflects that change. But we're also doing this kind of regular systematic review of our content anyway. We only use authoritative sources. So we will, we have a wide network of experts within the sector that we will use for our content, and we'll go to them for advice. We obviously use DfE guidance and government guidance. And then we also have our legal partners over at Forbes Solicitors. And they are the kind of sources that we are using. We don't tend to, although there's lots of interesting sources out there that talk about, that perhaps, they might speculate on changes that might come in, especially with the general election looming. We deal with facts. We don't tend to write about our opinions about things in the sector. We serve you the content that you really need to know. And the facts that you need to act, and we will only take those facts from very authoritative sources and credible sources. And as a team, we are always continuing our training. So we have training literally every week. I have mine this afternoon. I've a meeting with my mentor and then a specific training session. So we're doing that all the time to keep our knowledge up to date, and make sure that we're keeping abreast of all the changes that are going on in the sector. The other thing that we also do, we don't just, I might write an article or update an article, and, I'll do my best to make sure that I've researched everything and covered all the bases. But you don't need to worry. It's not just me who's going to see it before it's published. We also have a sub-editing team who are massively experienced and absolutely ruthless. And I say that in the nicest way possible because they're lovely people, but they will literally comb through every single word and make sure it's working as hard as it can, that the advice we are giving us is exactly right, it's 100% correct, that we're not, being vague when we say that things must be done or things should be done. They really go through it and with a fine-tooth comb, and they will they will come back to us continuously and make us make changes. They won't just go, okay, fine, you think it's fine, I'm sure it's great, you publish it. They'll keep bouncing articles back to us over and over again if they need to, if they feel that it's not quite right. So we have those really experienced sub-editors there who will check our content for us and make sure that it is correct. It's not just one pair of eyes looking at an article or a training course. There will be other experienced colleagues as well doing that. Jane, if you wouldn't mind moving on for me. So yeah, we fact check everything several times. We review things regularly, as I've said, and we also look at guidance. We constantly have eyes on what's going on in the sector. The DfE actually contact us and let us know when things are coming. We've got a really good relationship with them now, and they will let us know when they're going to make changes to governance guidance and things in the sector. And we also work quite closely with the content editors over at the Key for School Leaders. And they're also looking to see what's going on in the sector and checking different sources to see if something's been updated. So it's not just our team, it's also quite a large team that we work within who are out there looking to see if anything's changed, anything that we need to let governors know about. But ultimately, we're really mindful. I mean, we are governors ourselves, and we know governors are busy people. And so we're always trying to use that empathy and understanding about the fact that we know that you may not have a huge amount of time to read something. We've all been there where we've got caught in traffic and we turn up to a meeting, we've literally got 10 minutes to read through something before we go in. So all of our content is written with busy governors in mind. We stick to the facts, we keep it nice and brief, and we've tried to write content that's really succinct and you can quickly, you might just want an A4 page about safeguarding responsibilities just to refresh your understanding. We don't, write reams and reams. We could talk all day about safeguarding, but we know that sometimes you might just want a quick summary that just reminds you of the key points, and we provide that content for you. So we have more in-depth articles, we have quick reads, we have our training courses, which are a little bit longer. But we're mindful of the fact that you are busy people. And we're trying to give you the knowledge that you need to act. So we deal in facts. We tell you what you really need to know in order to be able to do your job. We want you to go into your meetings feeling confident, feeling informed. You can ask questions and you don't sort of think, well, I don't really know very much about this, so I better keep quiet. We want you to feel that you can act and you can raise questions, you can challenge your senior leaders. And looking at our content will enable you to do that. Jane, if you'd like to move on for me, please. As I said, we're always keeping an eye out for changes in the sector. One of the things that you might notice if you are a GovernorHub Knowledge customer is you might notice that sometimes if a piece of guidance comes out, say for example, the Home Office was to update the prevent guidance tomorrow. Tomorrow is probably not a great example, is it? Because it's Saturday. Let's go with Monday. So say Monday, the Home Office makes a change to prevent guidance. That's really important, and everybody in schools needs to know about that. We will know about it, we will be checking constantly. We'll find out about what those changes are. Our experienced content editors will work out exactly what you need to know. And you will receive an email with a link to something called a need to know. And that will summarize for you very, very briefly. So we're not bombarding you with millions of words about something, but we will give you the headlines. This has changed. The Home Office has published this. This is what you need to know. And we'll tell you what you actually really need to digest. And then a more in-depth article will follow shortly after. Okay. We don't interrupt your day lightly. We'll only do it for really big things. So, for example, if it was keeping children safe in education, if it was prevent, if it was, for example, when the governance guides were published in March. So that is obviously a really big thing, big news for governors. That's when we will interrupt your day and send you an email and say, this is something you need to know about. Here's a link, really quick article that you can quickly read 5 minutes when you're on the bus or whatever. But it will tell you. And then obviously we then produce more detailed guidance that will come out within a couple of days. So for example, in March, the old governance handbook was retired and was replaced with 2 new governance guides. So I had an email from the DfE the day before to say it was about to go live the next day. They then emailed me when it was actually published. And then I got straight to work, straight at my computer, went through it, and I will systematically have, one piece of guidance on one screen and the new piece of guidance on another. And I will go through it line by line and work out exactly what you need to know as governors. And I think that when the governance guides were published, they came out at 3:15, and by 6:15 we'd emailed something like 60,000 school governors with what they need to know about that new guidance. And then I had my more sort of detailed summary articles about going into a bit more detail about those changes. They came out 2 days later. So we work quite quickly to let you know when changes happen. And obviously now, you will notice that we still have some articles that still reference the old governance handbook, because obviously that is a huge piece of guidance for governors, and we've got hundreds of articles that might mention it. And we're systematically working through those as quickly as we can, but we will get to all of them. We will make sure that every single article is up to date, and we'll roll that content out as soon as we can. Okay, Jane, would you like to move on for me? The other thing that you might have noticed, if you're already a customer, or you may find this, is that we will send you content directly to your inbox every week. We don't just send you, something random that we think, oh, let's alert governors to this topic that we're interested in. It we tailor that content really carefully. So we will tailor that to the person who is receiving it. So if you're a governance professional or a clerk, you might receive different things to a governor in a maintained school, or a governor in an academy, or a trustee. We work out what you might be thinking about that week, what you might have seen in the news that's come up that's topical, what might be coming up on your agenda for this term, because it's a certain time of year when you always do those kinds of things, or something that we know from our research is becoming a bit of an issue in schools or for governors. We will tailor that content and we'll tell you what we think you might be interested in that week. So there's usually, 3-ish bits of content that we'll link to in those emails, and then you can click on those and you can know that that's been personalized to you, to the kind of school you work in, and to the kind of role that you have. Okay, Jane, I'm just aware I need to speed up a little bit because we're running out of time. The other thing that a lot of people aren't aware that we have is we also have a bespoke advice service. So if you have a question and you go to GovernorHub Knowledge, or you go somewhere to try and find the answer, and actually you're still not sure, you can't find the answer, come to us. We will respond to you within 3 days with an answer. We do not, AI is great and it's got a place and it's really exciting technology, but we are actual humans that will look at your problem and work out what you need to know and find out the answer for you. We always try to give you 100% of the answer. Sometimes the answer isn't out there for us to find. So you might say, well, actually, we need to do this in my school, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do this, or is that my role? And the guidance might not make it clear. But in that case, we will go to the DfE and we will ask them on your behalf to get an answer for you. We might go to our partners at Forbes Solicitors and ask them for you, but we will aim to come back to you with an answer. We won't just say, oh, we looked, but we couldn't really find anything, sorry. We will actually go and trawl and talk to our experts. We will talk to the DfE. We will try and find an answer for you. So if you're experiencing a problem in your role, do feel free to come to us and send us your question. Jane, I don't know if you just want to show everybody on the call where that is, how they access that. Do you want to just quickly show where that content query place is?
Yes. So within GovernorHub, hang on a second. You can actually use this blue chat button here, and you can ask those questions here, and that comes through to the same place. So you can just go straight into the chat and you can post a question there, and that will come through to the content team. I think there is another. What will happen is,
sorry, Jane.
Sorry. Yeah.
What will happen is somebody like Jane or somebody on the help desk will realise that your query is about content rather than about the software tool itself, and then they'll direct one of us. They'll allocate it to one of us, and we will then come back to you. We come back to you within 3 days with an answer. If it's something where we need to go out to perhaps the DfE, we obviously then have to think about their timescales. But we'll always get back to you and we'll say, the guidance isn't clear. We're going to go to the DfE for you. As soon as we've heard something back, we'll come back to you. Okay. Do you want to go back to the slide, Jane?
Yes. Yeah, that's great.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, if you want to send us your feedback, please do. We have a very thick skin and we're very happy to always hear your feedback, whether it's positive or negative. So if you've used an article and you loved it and you found it really useful, please feel free to send us a nice little 5-star feedback rating or a nice little message. We do read every single one, and it's always lovely to hear feedback. But it's also really useful to hear feedback that isn't always positive. And we are always grateful for all feedback, not just the nice feedback. So if there's something, you've gone to an article to find something out and actually you're a bit disappointed that you couldn't see the answer to a specific question there, please let us know, because we feed those comments into our review cycle. And so we will make sure that when we review that article, and we might review it straight away, or it might be coming up soon, we will use that feedback to help us improve it. And we're always grateful for your communication in terms of helping us do that. So please don't feel that you can't be rude and say, well, actually, I was looking for this and I couldn't find it. I'm really, we're always happy to hear what you've got to say. We're always happy to look at our content again with fresh eyes and say, well, actually, you're quite right. There is a gap here, and we will add something. Lots of times online, you fill out these feedback things and you've got no idea if anyone ever reads it. It might be that no one looks at it, but we do look at every single piece of feedback. And if we get a negative rating, we will always respond to you. We will always come back to you and say, I'm really sorry that we haven't met your expectations. We will have another look at this and we'll see if we can improve it. So yeah, anything below 3 out of 5 stars, you will always get a message from one of our team to sort of clarify perhaps what went wrong and what we can do better. So yeah, I realise that we're all very busy and you don't always have time to send feedback, but when you do send it, we're always super grateful. Okay, Jane, I realise we're now at 11:32, so I've gone over a little bit.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Elena. That was a really great insight into how the content is produced and very, very useful. So I hope you found this session useful. Talking of feedback, I believe that one of my colleagues is putting a link in the chat to a survey. We'd be really grateful if you could just take a couple of minutes to complete that survey on how useful you found this session. If you are a current GovernorHub Knowledge customer, I hope this is really going to help you make the best of what you have. If you're aboard and you're interested in adding GovernorHub Knowledge to your existing GovernorHub subscription, please contact support@governorhub.com. Mention that you've been to the webinar and that you're interested in knowing how to upgrade. If you're a trust, also the same. If you're a part of a trust and you're interested in adding GovernorHub Knowledge and finding out more about the admin site and the training booking system that comes with that, again, if you please just send a message to support@governorhub.com, we'll be able to tell you more about that. And also, if you have any other questions at all about anything that you've heard this morning, please do contact support@governorhub.com. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody, and I hope you are now able to take an early lunch and enjoy the rest of your Friday. Thank you so much for joining us.